From the Motel 6 Cactus Bowl in Phoenix, Arizona, this West Virginia football report is presented by GoMart, the official convenience store of WVU football. Hi everybody, we welcome you in Mountaineer Team Headquarters. It is finally game day. West Virginia set to take on Arizona State later on this evening. Coach Wallace, long break obviously for both of these teams. When you take a look at these bowl games, one of the things oftentimes that seems to happen is that your tackling efficiency goes away. That's always a key, isn't it? Who's going to tackle better?
It sure seems that way to me, Tony. I think what happens is towards the end of the year, I think these running backs get beaten up. And they start out the season running 4.5, 4.4, 4.3 or whatever. By the end of the year, they're running about 4.8. And they just don't have life in their legs. You give them 2 or 3 weeks off, these guys are fresh again. All of a sudden, these linebackers and defensive players are going to find these guys can stop on a dime and cut again. You're getting stronger, quicker, faster running backs to tackle, and it's tougher.
Defensively, we've got an interesting matchup here. Both of these teams like to bring a lot of pressure. Todd Graham, that's his calling card. Keith Patterson, the former WVU assistant, is the defensive coordinator. Of course, Tony Gibson for WVU used to work with both of those guys. So we're going to see a lot of attacking. There's going to be a lot of tackles behind the line here tonight.
You know, when you gamble, there's high risk and high reward, and I think that's what we're going to see. I think this is going to boil down to, with both these defenses having their ears pinned back and coming, they're going to try first to take away run, and I know Arizona State's been very effective at that, and that, of course, has been one of our strong points, so we're going to have to adjust for that. But I think it's going to boil down to how well can we handle a blitz, and what do we do? What's going to be can we get to our hots if it's in the passing game? So which quarterback and receiver combinations are able to work together to convert those hots? But overall, it means it's going to be an ugly day probably for the offenses. So we have to find a way to win ugly.
All right, so it's going to be a grinder type of a game, you would think, offensively. That means that special teams are going to be key. Much like West Virginia in the Kansas State game opposed a very good return man, Arizona State also has a very good return man when it comes to kicks, and oftentimes we don't talk about it pregame, but special teams, whether it's the punt or the kick, probably is going to have a huge impact in this game. Agree?
Yeah, I agree. You look at the stats, and these two teams match up there as well. I don't know. They've got a couple kickers, their kicker and their punter. The kicker, he kicks it off over 70% of the time in or out of the end zone. They've got a punter that pins you down inside the 20. They're very good on field position. Part of that is their special teams. I think a big part of it with their return game, their coverage teams, and then their kickers. So, yeah, I think special teams, we've really got to be on alert again. Those guys have fresher legs too.
Yeah, and their field goal kicker, Zane Gonzalez, second all-time in field goals made at Arizona State in the school history, and had, believe it or not, 6 field goals. He was 6 for 6 in their last game against California. Well, we invite you to join us for our broadcast later on this evening as West Virginia takes on Arizona State as we put a wrap on the 2015-2016 portion of this Mountaineer season. Along with Coach Wallace, I'm Tony Caridi on the pregame walkthrough. From the Motel 6 Cactus Bowl in Phoenix, Arizona, this West Virginia football report has been presented by GoMart, the official convenience store of WVU football.